What's that? It sounds like there's a battle unfolding nearby.
Can't tell anyone. The Magisters were probably ever killed.
A man paces back and forth, puffing anxiously on a pipe. His face is creased with tiredness. The faint coppery hue of dried blood stains his hands. He sees you.
If you're looking for healing or the like, then you'd best look elsewhere. My plate is full for now.
The man chomps on the bit of his pipe, generating a small cloud of nervous smoke. Finally, he plucks it from his mouth and clears his throat.
I came by a new patient, a young woman, very troubled. I'll do what I can for her, but I'll need to concentrate. And that means...
He gestures with his pipe for you to leave.
I'm still trying to figure that out. She seems afflicted with some sort of rabidness. It makes her difficult to approach and nigh on impossible to treat. I had no choice but to lock her in my cellar, for her safety and my own. Like I said, my services are engaged. You'll have to go elsewhere for whatever ails you. Driftwood, perhaps. This isn't someone with a broken leg who needs to be held still. This is serious and dangerous. I doubt you could help. You can help. Take this key and go to the cellar. I'll join you there. Just be careful. I wasn't jesting before. She was already a powerful sorcerer by the looks of things, but whatever it is that's happened to her, it's left her dangerous. Need to get closer. Then maybe I can sedate her. Be ready to flee.
Across the cellar, a shape bearing some resemblance to a woman lurches around to face you. It utters a marrow-curdling gurgle.
She senses us. Be calm and quiet. No sudden moves. You're right. I hadn't noticed before. Couldn't get close enough. We have to help her. Maybe we can reverse whatever was done to her. All right. We need her subdued, understand? Do whatever you can to weaken her. Just don't go too far, or you might kill her.
Another gurgle, sharper, angrier. Then the sound of rapid footfalls rushing towards you.
I'll yield to none! Too strong. She must be weakened, or there's no way to help her.
The young woman lies still on the floor, her breathing an uneven rasp. Swan's satchel of surgical tools lies near.
There's no time to waste. We have to see what was done to her.
The young woman lies. Swan approaches, cradling his arm with a grimace of pain.
Ones of hers broke my arm. I'll do what I can to help, but the rest is up to you. Tread carefully. One false move and she's dead.
Swan carefully holds her head steady with his one good arm. Something moves along her exposed lobe. It's a maggot of some kind. The maggot is caught in the pinch of the tweezers and plucked off in a single, swift movement. The woman's breathing has grown shallow as she hovers between life and death. All you can do is close her up and hope for the best. You replace the extracted bone and bind it with copper hooks. Then you draw the scalp back in place and start stitching the incision shut. The woman's breathing grows stronger, more even. Colour flushes her cheeks.
She's alive. You did it. I've never seen anything like that, not in 20 years. I'll tend to her here for a while. She shouldn't be moved yet. She'll want to thank you once she comes round, I'm sure. It's a damn miracle that she survived. That was damn fine work you pulled off there. Consider me in your debt. I'll keep an eye on her until she's ready to fend for herself. If you find yourself in need of potions or healing, be sure to come to me. It's the least I can. Help yourself. Everything I've got's here. Until next time, take care of yourself. Good to see you again.
The young woman blinks as she struggles to focus her vision on you. She looks weak, pale, but already visibly more human.
It's you. I remember your face in the darkness. You saved me. The Magisters arrested me in Arx for sorcery. They strapped me to a table, and they put something in my head. Something alive. They put me on a caravan bound for Fort Joy. They said I was going to become a pet for the hammer. I could feel myself changing. I tore off the shackles that held me, like they were parchment. I remember hearing screams, feeling the blood of others on my hands, in my mouth. Then I ran, and then I woke up here.
This Magister didn't die by a sword anyway. Something's afoot here.
Voidwoken! The sorcerer's conjured Voidwoken! Form up! Don't let them over the bridge!
The spectral Magister raises his sword and shield against an unseen Voidwoken foe. The spirit seems to sense you now and points his sword in your general direction. But it's too late. He is yours now.
you to none.
Glory is mine! Hurts, doesn't it?
My thanks for your help.
He takes a pull from a water canteen, then splashes some over his blood-stained hands.
Nowhere's safe. Not while these void beasts are still appearing. Take my advice. Get out of here. A sorcerer fugitive was hiding here. Some of the locals were stupid enough to help him. We got a tip-off, but he wasn't willing to go quietly. These Voidwoken appeared, thanks to him. It was messy. A lot of the locals didn't make it, and those that did, well, there's a price for helping sorcerers.
Any trace of gratitude for your help against the Voidwoken drains away in an instant.
Take my advice and don't say another word, hear me? Sorcerers brought this plague down on us. Them and the sort of folk who see fit to help them. They'll all get what they deserve. You can join them if you like. Otherwise you can shut your trap. Damned idiot! You asked for this!
Glory is mine! Glory is mine!
The spirit of a woman cowers before you. She has her hand clamped over her mouth in a desperate effort to stifle the whimpering. Something catches her eye. Terror swamps her, and she slips to the floor, screaming.
Help! Somebody! Help! Voidwoken!
The bitter air warms you as you near the stone monument. As you cup your hands beneath the statue's feet, the oil spills into your palms and overflows. Looking down into the mirrored pool, you see endless blackness, eternal.
Villagers, some slain by Voidwoken, others perhaps not.
The spirit of a matronly woman stands before you. She shakes her head as she soundlessly argues with someone unseen. A faint sound catches your ear, the rasp of metal upon leather, a sword unsheathed. The spirit's eyes bulge with panic. She raises her arms protectively. An unseen blade cuts through the air with a whistle. The spirit collapses backwards, a silver gash opening the full width of her torso. The woman's spirit lies still on the ground, mirroring the pose of her mortal remains.
These people were slain by blades, not Voidwoken.
I'll give you fair warning, stranger. Turn around and get out of here unless you want to end up like this treacherous filth.
He throws a kick into the ribs of a nearby corpse.
What they did deserved a lot worse than what they got. This lot were sorcerer sympathizers. Good magisters died thanks to the one they were hiding.
He gestures around at the Voidwoken wrought destruction in the area.
They forced our hand. We've got to do whatever's necessary to hold the rot at bay.
Smart move. Smarter than this lot anyway.
Now get out of my fight. Get out of here.
More slaughter. Killed by Voidwoken, who were killed in turn themselves.
The spirit of a dwarf woman stares despondently at her body and those of her loved ones.
A word of the wise, friend. Never help a sorcerer. They'll only bring death in their wake. No, not me. It was my bloody neighbours. Soft darts and softer wits, the lot of them. I did the right thing. Let the magisters know what was going on. But when they came for him, he conjured up all these monsters. The magisters were too busy helping themselves to save me and my own. Murdering sorcerer filth.
The spirit panics and flails, but it's too late. The stench of dead Voidwoken assails you. The thought occurs, sorcerers caused this.
Source can be used for good or ill. That's what the Magisters need to learn.
Tyrants will dredge up any reason to silence the people. Sure, Source isn't all good, but that don't mean you can change the world order to control it either.
Source is like life, a twin of death. The sooner the Magisters accept this, the better.
Yourselves. You brought this on yourselves.
An executioner's blade hovers inches above a young woman's throat. The nearby Magister drones a prayer with all the passion of a silent monk's empty gaze.
The Divine does not absolve a traitor of his grace. You've tended not to the seed the Seven have planted. Without faith, it cannot flourish. Sorcerer's been wandering through the Black Pits, infecting the place with Voidwoken. And these murderers, these traitors, sheltered him, clothed him, fed him.
He nods to a bloody corpse in Magister's garb lying in the doorway.
That's the welcome they offer the law-abiding Magisters that came to keep the people safe. Ain't that right, woman?
The young woman squeezes her eyes shut in terror, but says nothing. The executioner raises his blade.
There's no escape from justice.
To the dark with you.
Magister pigs.
Help! Over here! Someone's me. Please, thank you.
Her tear-stained cheeks quiver as she surveys the blood-spattered floorboards.
It's like a bad nightmare. Except you never wake up.
The young man grunts as he fruitlessly tries to free his hands from the...
Thanks.
He looks to his slain brother's body, his eyes well with tears, though none break free.
We didn't deserve...
But please, don't go. Not yet.
The Magisters are gone. Thank the gods. But it's never really over, is it?
He scans the death strewn at his feet. The grieving mother manages a thin smile, even as tears stream down her ruddy face.
Thank you, stranger.
She blinks out more tears, then rubs them away with the back of her hand and puts on the bravest of faces.
To lose a child. It's a mother's worst fear. I never imagined. It's true. What the Magister said, I mean. My brother's boy Gideon, he's got source in him. Now that his folks are gone, we've all he's got. He's been staying with us. We thought we could keep him safe. He's not got a spot of malice. He can't help who he is. But when the Magisters came snooping, he panicked. We all did.
She glances at the Magister corpse and shivers. Another tear drips down her cheek.
Shouldn't have let that Hanag woman near Gid. She said she could teach him, but that's when all the trouble started. As soon as the Magister fell, Gid knew what he'd done. He didn't even struggle when they dragged him away. Gods know where they took him. I've already lost more than I can bear today. I pray to the Seven I haven't lost him too. You will? Oh, bless you. Bless you.
She ekes out another thin smile.
Make sure he's safe. And if you can, bring him back to me. I pray the Seven guide Gideon to safety.
The bereaved father weeps uncontrollably.
Magister's a...
Are you proud? Proud to stand in the way of justice? Proud that you'd allow Voidwoken to raise the land? Proud of your wrongs?
A crooked sneer surfaces from the spirit's deep pit of contempt.
There's no pride more stubborn than that which comes before the fall.
His sneer widens.
I know your type. You blindly ricochet from one conflict to the next, stirring the pot while scolding the virtuous. You believe in your own honor, but you're a fraud.
The Magister's spirit retains his superior airs, even as he is cursed to oblivion.
They don't pay me to talk. Move along before you find out what they do pay me for.
Come out, sorcerer. No harm will come to you. When he comes out, lads, kill him.
He turns towards you. Then he breathes deeply through his nose, his tongue extended, as if he were tasting the air.
Since when does rain hire mercenaries?
He gives you a long look, unblinking, his breathing steady. His tongue protrudes from between his lips. He inhales deeply, then suddenly he reaches for his weapon and yells.
Sorcerer!
up.
Move it.
Sorcerer, no.
He turns towards...
Since when does rain? The sorcerer is trapped in the cellar beneath the house. He's dropped one magister, but he won't drop another. We don't need you, Merc. Seen a wound before, haven't you, Merc? That blade was touched with sauce. Kilgallion suffered before he died. Between you and me, he went a little mad. That was no ordinary blade. That was a sorcerer's weapon. Don't tell me you care, mercenary. He's a sorcerer. If the Inferno takes him, then justice is done. He only has himself to blame. These papers say you're an Inquisitor. You don't look like an Inquisitor. You don't smell like an Inquisitor. Fine. The job's all yours. Of course, first you'll have to put the fire out, at least so's you can reach the cellar hatch. Stand back, lads. The Merc here is going to show us how it's done. She's going to bring the sorcerer out unarmed. Because between you and me, if he comes out here armed, we'll kill him on the spot.
The thought occurs. The Magisters have strayed from the path of Lucian.
Were they ever on it?
That's what happens when you give any few people too much power. Goes straight to their heads, and it's the common folk that pay the price.
Wolves in sheep's clothing. That's all these Magisters are. We've seen it proven time and again.
He drapes one hand on the hilt of his short sword and gives you a tired look, a look that says, "Try me." He gives you a blank look. Then he raises his hands as if holding a crossbow, points it at you, and pulls the trigger. A mirthless smile spreads across his face, but it does not reach his eye. The spirit stares down at his own corpse, a bemused look upon his face. He turns to you, so fast you don't see the movement. His eyes look blank, as if the void has touched them. He tries to speak, but lacks the strength to do more than croak 2 words.
The blood. The blood. The blood.
The spirit stares down. He raises an arm in self-defense and croaks a single word.
No.
your maker.
The man brandishes a sword, ready to fight. A curious weapon, simple but weighty. It seems out of place in the hands of a simple worker, if that's what he is. You have your doubts, for the sword exudes an evil power.
Back, Magister, or I'll cut your guts for ribbons like I did the last fella. The Magisters are dead. What? All of them? And you did that? I don't know whether to thank you or fear you. You have them. And with that, I shall leave.
He gives you a stiff salute, then climbs the ladder to face his destiny.
This was my dead father's house. Sorry, Dad. This was my father's house.
He sighs.
Well, nothing left for me here.
If he were the crying type, he'd shed a tear, but that doesn't seem to be his way. You leave him to it.
This was my...
He sighs.
Well...
If he were...
Who are you?
Suspicious, he examines the document. On realizing it's real, he hands it back, then stands to attention.
I apologize. I didn't know. Admission granted. You, there, guard! Admission granted. Just doing my job. Please.
Realizing it's a lost cause, he swallows hard, then gives you a stiff salute.
Don't hurt me! Like I told them magisters, the sorcerer ain't here. He's holed up in that Crossley house yonder.
The colour drains from her face.
Well, I didn't mean... Obviously, look, serves him right for sheltering sorcerers.
Realizing she may have just made a terrible mistake, she swallows hard. She closes her eyes and begins to whisper.
Everything's going to be all right. 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 Everything's going to be all right.
Eyes closed.
Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right.
He stands to attention and salutes.
In you go, ma'am.
Go on in, madam. I need to close the gate behind you.
Sorcerer, it's always the same tale. You're boring me.
I've said all I know. Please.
Ho hum. I've heard all this before. You really need to work on your storytelling skills. Maybe if I make this simpler. You tell me where Hanag is, and I call off your family's execution.
No. Okay, I'll tell you. She's gone to Arx for Lucian's Day.
Oh dear. When you lie like that, you really break my sense of immersion. It's always the same tale. You're boring me.
I've said all I know. Please.
The Magister squints at you, at length.
Careful you don't get in the way up there. Carrie's blade is ready, and I doubt she'll be caring much who or what she slices.
Call off your family's execution.
No.
White Magister Carrie's got that sorcerer on the ropes up there. Would be better if that Hanag woman, but I'm not complaining. Not too much, anyway.
When you lie like that, you really break my sense of immersion. Don't toy with me, sorcerer. You know where she is, and I know you know it, so talk.
I don't know where Hanag's gone. I'd tell you if I did. I swear on my father's grave.
Oh, he swears. Did you hear that, everyone? He swears. Why, that's almost as good as a pinky promise.
The White Magister swiftly pivots toward you and draws her blade.
Did you come for the show, woman? Good timing. The interrogation scene is over, so we're almost at the climax.
She chuckles and pokes the inside of her cheek with her tongue.
Well, I was just about to show this sorcerer here what happens to traitors to the divine cause. Make yourself comfortable. First-rate entertainment, this is.
The sorcerer fidgets, and you notice a thin dagger resting in his palm. He slices away a bit of rope, then looks at you, eyebrows raised.
Now, why on the god's green ground would I make things harder than I need to? I've got the problem hanging over there.
She wiggles her unsheathed blade as if it were a child's toy.
And I'm holding a quick and easy solution.
The hanging sorcerer winks at you, and another strand of rope falls away. He'll soon be free.
Well, it's...
Her eyes narrow.
What are you playing?
The White Magister spins on her heels just as the hanging sorcerer breaks free of his bond.
A plot twist. I love it. Keeps things interesting.
I'm ready.
What a show of sauce. You'd give Hanag a run for her money.
He pauses a moment, and the amazement fades from his face.
On your way, did you see my family, by chance? My aunt and uncle, my cousins, little Henrik. Not all of them.
Gwydion exhales slowly, evenly.
I must go to them.
The sorcerer waves goodbye, revealing the rope burns on his wrist from where he'd been bound and hanged. The spirit is silent, but her face is not. A plethora of emotions cross it, as if she relives a lifetime of memories in this single moment.
Forgive me, darling.
God, I'm sorry. So sorry. I'm glad I still have people I can call family. But I know we can't stay here. The Magisters, they'll come back. They always do. So, farewell. Oh, and take this. You'll make better use of it than I ever could.
He responds with a weak shrug.
Away from here. Away from Driftwood, away from Arx. Away from all of this. I'd ask Hanag. But it seems she's deserted me. Deserted my family. I have no idea where she disappeared to. Maybe it's best, I don't know.
He turns wordlessly and takes his first steps towards a new life.
You're alive! Thank the Seven!
I'm glad to see you too. But, Henrik.
Gid, look at me! We can be strong again! We have to be.
He stands to attention.
What's this? I found something.
The wizened old turtle peers up at you inquisitively as she makes her slow, slow path across the beach.
Smells good, ain't it? Silly, silly. I mean the rich, warm, red smell of raw meat. Quartermistress Anna, saint of a woman, sometimes throws me some dinner. Now I smell so much in that building over there. I can hear it too, covered with flies. My favorite. Adds a bit of crunch. Void-woken turtles? Oh, dearie me. No, no, that wouldn't be my style at all. But each to their own. I say, we're all odd in our own ways. Look at you, a god-woken hanging out on the beach, talking to a turtle. What's that all about?
The turtle nods her head sagely and tremulously turns to resume her dignified procession towards dinner.
Slowly does it. The first meat I ate was a rabbit who died of boredom, waiting for me in a race. True story. Slow but true.
Looks like trouble ahead.
You can nosy around camp, but watch it. The docks are restricted. Even I'm not allowed down there. If you come back bleeding, don't say I didn't warn you. Watch yourself.
silent watcher smiles at you. Closer inspection reveals the wide rictus grin to be nothing more than red, ragged scars ripped into the corners of his mouth. His eyes hold untold pain, yet his mouth smiles on. The silent watcher smiles. Two white magisters are discussing the fate of 3 magically bound captives. Captives clad in the dark shroud of the Black Ring. Noticing your arrival, the magisters step back and take hold of their weapons.
You? Ah, yes. I remember your face from Driftwood. Shouldn't have come here, you silly little sod.
Indeed. And your presence is most unwelcome. None of your business.
There you have it.
The 2 magisters whistle up their source hounds and advance upon you, deadly intent darkening their expressions.
You lot have outlived yours.
take them down.
The spirit sways from foot to foot, as if dazed from a fist fight. He looks right through you, hollow eyes empty and endless, the fugiline colour of the void. The tiniest glimmer of light flickers in them, then dies out. Gazing into his eyes, you see the tiny spark of source flicker again. Catching it like a pearl, you see a reflection on its surface. The spirit as a younger man. You see him joining the Black Ring, zealous and proud. You see his commander, a shadowy, horrifying figure that seems to flit in and out of existence. You see the recruit's determined eyes, heading for battle with the Magisters. You see him captured by Dallis, chained and leashed. You see him deep in a cave, using source to break through a magical barrier, trying, failing, trying again, failing in exhaustion. The source pearl you gaze into grows dark and disappears. You are left with the endless blackness, blacker than black, of the spirit's depthless eyes. The spirit's vacant eyes, the spirit gazes through you as you pull the source from his very soul. He is calm, and this calm is terrifying, infinitely cold. Chittering, the whispers of the void creep around the edges of his source. And all of a sudden, it's over. The spirit disappears. All that remains is a vaguely unpleasant aura, and the feeling that there is more in this universe than you could ever possibly hope to understand.
The Aeteran! It spoke to me, called me to it, but I can't sense it anymore. Where is it? Oh, where could it be?
The spirit gazes around, clearly looking for something, but does not register your presence at all. The spirit gazes around, as you drink in her shadowy power. She looks directly at you for the first time, seeming to recognize something in you that frightens, nay, terrifies her.
You're worse than sallow.
The spirit grins as he sees you, a grin that contains madness, or something as close to it as makes no difference.
So, are you a servant to the king, here to bring me back?
He laughs bitterly.
I've got time. I can wait. I'm waiting.
He raises his arms to a cruciform and tilts his head back, laughing like the damned, as his very essence is drained away into your source. Her hands clasped together, the spirit of a woman mumbles silent prayers to herself. Unseen hands force her to her knees. Her lips move more rapidly. There's a faint sound next to you, like an echo. The metallic rasp of a sword being unsheathed. An echoing swish heralds a blur of silver passing through the spirit's neck, back to front. Her head topples forward, followed by the rest of her a brief moment later. The rat scurries nearer to the corpses and bares its fangs at you with a protective hiss. The rat backs up onto its haunches, its fleshy tail whipping back and forth aggressively. The spirit of an elven woman holds her palms upward. A hesitant, peacemaking gesture, she steps forward and suddenly jerks to a halt. One of her hands moves to her stomach. It comes away, coated in a silvery spectral blood. She looks right through you, to her murderer. Her expression drowns in confusion and shock. Her knees buckle. She drops to the floor, soundlessly. The spirit remains on the floor, staring upwards. Her eyes grow dim. The spirit of a man cowers on the floor of the cell, his head tucked down. An unseen hand yanks his head up by the hair. His wide, panicked eyes find his tormentor. His lips part to plead. But before he can, a slash opens across his throat. Ghostly silver sprays forth. His eyes bulge. He clutches his hands around his neck and pitches forward to the ground, twitching. The spirit lies still, silver pooling beneath him. Gazing into it, you can just about see your reflection.
Watch yourself.
I'm on the right track. I've spotted that tablet Riker wants. Has to be close. More black ring. The plot thickens.
Be ye warned, beyond lies death. The Divine Order guarantees it. Heed the word of the White Magister. Turn ye around. The first thing you notice is the figure's empty, eyeless sockets. The second thing is that your skin is crawling. The third is that your senses feel heightened. The fourth is that he is, or was, Black Ring. As your hand nears the ghost, your skin begins to itch. But more than that, your world expands, your vision narrows and fades, and your perception of the cavern is enhanced. Your nerves hum as if stretched taut, and you realize this is, or was, the ghost's reality. He was a guide, his job to know the way. You see him, on pain of purging, guide magisters into the cavern depths, there to continue their secret dig. You see him float above the traps, or vanish in one place and reappear in the next. And then, at last, You see him murdered in cold blood as the Magisters left the cave. Their work here finished. His services no longer required. His wages paid with his own soul, which he was allowed to keep. You feel his anger and his confusion and his raw and naked pain, and you hear the cavern echo with his cries. He turns to you at last, those eyeless sockets staring into you, and as your senses crawl beneath your skin, you realize you know the truth already. You can do as he did. You can find your way over and around the accursed surfaces, those deadly stains that rise from the gods know what, deep underground. You have the power. You have what it takes.
The Divine Order? With Black Ring slaves? Lucian would be thrilled.
An eyeless gaze alights on you once more.
Careful now, that's a trap.
Ouch! Looks like we're really not well.
Please, help me!
Well, that solves that one.
And also poses a new one.
wonder what this does.
If a device breaks in a cave and nobody is around to complain, did I really break it?
with its wings spread wide and a terrible squawk. Don't go! Great big screeching bird. There it goes. It doesn't even hop down to see the buddies.
The hen gives you a panicked nod.
Is that... Oh, void. It is a shrieker.
The statue looms in the shadowy darkness of the cave. A clear aura of sadness shrouds its stony face. At first you think it's crying. A closer look shows the welling tears to be water dripping from the cave ceiling. As the tears dampen your fingertips, the stone face seems to smile sadly at you for just a moment. Maybe you imagined it. Perhaps it was a trick of the light. Carved from unfamiliar metal in an alien style, this mysterious object yet glows with a pulsating inner light that is familiar to you. The unmistakable brilliance of source. Carved from...
Whoa! What was that? Those magisters are about to become popcorn. I could help them.
And you are? Voidkin. You'll not add to your collection on my watch.
Glory is mine!
The little rat squeaks up at you inquisitively, beady little eyes full of something approximating intelligence.
Are you a poet? Do you know it? Do I show it? I write a rhyme in my spare time. It's about a bird, but I need a word.
He eyes you shrewdly, then sniffs with judgment.
Not what I was looking for. Now I'll bid you good day, boar.
The little rat squeaks.
Are you a poet? I write a rhyme in my spare...
He eyes you shrewd.
Not what I...
The little rat.
Are you a poet? I write a rhyme in my spare time.
He eyes you shrewd.
Not what...
The little rat.
Are you a poet? I write a...
He eyes you
Not what I...
The little rat.
Are you a poet? I write a rhyme.
He eyes you
Not...
Folding his arms across his chest, the Magister stares at you with baleful eyes. One by one, he points at the dead Voidwoken, the dead Magisters, the dead Silent Watchers. Then, he points at you.
Your end comes, sorcerer, just as it came for them and for me. Friedemann guided the excavation rightly. Soon, Dallas will use the Aetherin on you. And then you will be the sorcerer no longer.
He says nothing, only twists his lip bitterly as he echoes, pointing at the dead. Pointing at the dead, then pointing at you. Folding his arms across
your end.
As you begin to pull his energy into yourself, he looks at you with the purest disgust.
Sorcerer vampire! The Order are right about your kind. You are no more than Voidkin.
His last words dissipate as his energy is wholly subsumed into your own. You feel a tiny, hateful kernel struggle within yourself. Struggle, then evaporate.
Aetheran. What an incredible discovery.
The spirit's memory, in its madness, dances in your mind. You are a sensate, deaf and mute, but gifted with an unnatural ability. Dallis seeks you out and brings you here into the darkness. When the blindfold falls, Dallis bids you find and free a secret power. You close your eyes, and you feel the presence of a hidden truth. You point at it and open your eyes. You are pointing at Dallis. The hammer calmly bids you try again, then steps back into the shadows. You close your eyes once more. Now the vault before you sings to you. You raise your hand to it. It opens to your touch. From the vault, you take a sword. It's weightless, yet it feels extremely powerful. More powerful even than Dallis herself, and yet fragile. A hand falls upon your shoulder. A blade crosses your throat. Blood pours. Dallis whispers, "Good girl," and then all goes quickly dark. The pedestal seems empty, as if it once supported something powerful. You surmise that this was once the resting place of the Aetheran, until it was torn free and borne away. If this is what Dallis was looking for, then she has claimed her prize.
This must be where the Magisters found the Aetheran.
What's this? I found something.
The little rat squeaks up.
Are you a poet? I write a rhyme in my...
The unusual tablet is marked on all sides with runic inscriptions that look like they were hacked into indecipherability with a chisel or similar instrument. As your fingertips trace these mutilated runes, your eyes flicker closed of their own accord. You see nothingness, vast, dark, and empty. You sense something ancient watching you, perusing you like a prison guard would watch a wayward ant scuttling across the floor of a cell. From within the endless emptiness, a voice hums into being and calls to you, God-woken. You sense an interest within the cold voice addressing you. Beyond the interest, you sense fangs, voracious hunger, a bottomless appetite that no sustenance could ever sate. You see your life flash before your eyes, every memory flitting by like a moth's wings at a lantern. The vision reaches the present moment and diverges into multiple strands, impossible to keep track of. Your brain aches with the effort of trying to keep up with the intelligence as it sifts through your every potential future. You see salvation and destruction and every shade of existence in between. And all of a sudden, it's over. Blackness rises once more, just as it was at the start. Eternal darkness and you. An electric feeling pulses in your fingertips, and a force field of some kind pushes you away from the tablet.
If that was some kind of a test, I'm really not sure whether I passed or failed.
The tablet looks the same, but you cannot touch it. An invisible force field of some kind prevents you from touching the mutilated runes again. The tablet seems to glow from within with a subtle light. Etched runes cover its surface. The markings feel familiar, but you have no idea what they mean. Your fingertips burn so hot it feels like they are melting. An energy seems to travel between the tablet and your hands, sparking knowledge directly into your mind as if you were reading with your fingers. Electrical sensations sizzle in your mind. You understand that the runes are ancient Rivalonian, the oldest known language. You feel the fragments under your fingers, An Lesru. You know not how, but you understand the meaning of these words with the very marrow of your being. One must rise. Then your fingers grow cold to the bone. Suddenly, you are just a person standing in a cavern, clinging to a stone tablet as if it were a life raft. The tablet is ice cold to the touch. No matter what you do, no further message can be deciphered from it.
Never seen anything like this workmanship.
The stone relic pulls on your consciousness. You feel the tendrils of an ancient hunger trespassing within your soul, seeking something you have. Source. As your fingertips brush the cool stone, you feel the depths of your being crack open. Your power flows from you into the relic, yet a reverse current flows back into you with a new power, a different power. A sharp electrical shock repels your hands from the stone and sends you staggering backwards.
Mask of the Shapeshifter. That's something I want to craft, and fast.
The stone relic pulls on your consciousness. You feel the tendrils.
Hurry, she said, so I hurried, and hurried some more, tore me skin and muscles to shreds and got all but buried alive for the effort. Ah, well there you have it. Drudgery in life and insult in death.
The spirit shakes his head and rolls his eyes. He's got nothing left to say to you. The spirit holds up the back of his hand and slowly peels away every finger but the one in the middle.
Wait, what do you... No! No!
I tried to warn them, but would they listen? I'm no canary, but I know bad news when I see it. And what do I get? Lying dead in a cage. Bugger 'em all. I tried to warn them. Can't say I didn't try.
Magisters, what are they up to?
The Black Ring captive you executed was the only one who knew how to operate it.
He was a saboteur and paid the price. Do you want to meet the same end as he did?
No, madam. I'll get a replacement here right away.
The Magister looks you up and down with utter dispassion.
You should not be here.
The Magister scowls, but relents.
Touch anything down here, and I'll stick your carcass on a gibbet. Now keep out of my way. Keep close watch, lads. Mind those torches now. Remember what I said.
Impressive. A barrel-filling machine for the oil, I believe.
What word on getting this oil contraption working again?
Bound in scrap metal, the weaponized travesty in front of you shivers and shudders, waiting for the whim of the White Magisters to direct its movements.
The only one who knew. Talk to the boss. If
My body sings for your glory. My mind dances at your touch. Lord, Lord, release me from this hold. Call me back to you.
On your guard. There's someone out there.
Guess I know what I need to do now.
From somewhere deep within the inner workings of the machine comes an irregular clanking sound, then a weak gurgle. Inoperable, it seems. The spirit of a White Magister scowls at your presence.
Get away from me, sorcerer! Filth! You'll get nothing out of me. Nothing! What? No, wait. I'll tell you. We had orders to bring down the wall. They thought there was more to find beyond it. That's all I know, I swear.
The spirit meets her fate with an intense scowl.
That's a lot of firepower to stockpile in one place.
From somewhere deep within the inner workings of the machine comes an irregular clanking sound, then a weak gurgle. Inoperable, it seems. The machine churns into life. Gears rotate and it settles into a slow metallic chug. Ready for the next lever, perhaps. The machine churns into life. Gears rotate and pistons hiss from somewhere within its metal housing. It settles into a slow metallic chug. Ready for the next lever, perhaps. The machine churns into life. Gears rotate and pistons hiss. The machine rattles, grinds and hisses, then settles down into a steady mechanical thrum. Functional by the sound of it.
It's working.
Well now, how's my favorite god woken?
Ifan raises an eyebrow and folds his arms, looking every inch the man you'd hate to run into in a dark alley at night.
Of course I'm afraid of things. Heights, the dark, even spiders, truth be told. I just do things anyway. The fear doesn't go away, but my body is used to the rush by now. Keep going long enough and, well, the...
Ifan claps you on the shoulder and...
Not much of a landlubber. We do my favourite thing in all the world. We sail. The Council of Seven awaits, lad. Though if we dally among the waves, you won't find me complaining. And then there's Justinia.
The Master is on the Isle with no name. We should head there post-haste. We should sail off into the sunset in search of the name. An idyllic enough spot, no doubt.